Hello world! Today we're going to go ahead and start looking at full deck lists for the Paradox Rift format. These are just first drafts, so I'm sure that lots of things will change, and I've actually got some possible things, some options you might want to switch in and out of. But today we're looking at the Iron Valiant EX deck and ways that you can build around it potentially. So, of course, we start off with Iron Valiant EX. We want 4 copies of Iron Valiant. He is our main attacker, and he is integral to how the deck functions. So I'll just put a graphic on the screen to show what Iron Valiant does. But basically, every time that he switches into the active, you're able to put 20 damage, 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and that can include the active Pokemon. So there's no restriction as to where that goes. This actually will get through Jirachi's protection because it actually is an ability placing the damage counters, not an attack. Now, to couple with that damage counter placement, anytime Jirachi is not in play, we can bring in Medicham V, and we can use Yoga Loop to potentially take a knockout and give ourselves another turn. Obviously, things have to be set up right for that play to work, but it's not as hard as it sounds like, and it's entirely possible with this deck to get a Yoga Loop on your first attacking turn. Helping make that happen is Squawkabilly EX, who we can play on our first turn to discard our hand and draw 6 new cards. You're actually preferring to not use Squawkabilly if you can keep from doing so, but in a lot of cases that's going to be the key to taking that Yoga Loop, which then ensures that you get further and further ahead because you get multiple turns and you can evolve during what essentially is still your first turn, because you got to go for, like, you took your first turn and then immediately get your second turn. We also play a 2 count of Natu. There are some lists that are very similar to what I'm laying out that play a 3 count, and similarly we play a 2 count of Xatu. And again, some lists play 3. So Xatu is very helpful in this list as well, because he provides this clairvoyant sense ability wherein you can attach a basic psychic energy from your hand to any of your Pokemon on the bench, any of your benched Pokemon. And then, if you use the ability to attach energy, you get to draw 2 cards. So he's your draw engine and your energy acceleration, which is very useful. And that's why evolving, like I said, taking that Yoga Loop turn and being able to evolve into a Xatu or multiple Xatu can be very helpful. Currently, I still have a Manaphy in the list to protect the Natus and to some extent the Xatus, but I'm not sure that Manaphy needs to be in the list. And part of me thinks that Jirachi might be a better fit, because we're trying to evolve as quickly as possible, so we're not as worried about like a Greninja snipe as we could be, but blocking Sableye could be the key to keeping our 100 HP Xatus alive. So that is our Pokemon lineup. That's the whole thing currently. Again, I could even see dropping the Manaphy and not replacing it. I could see including a Lumineon V in its place, just to help get the right supporters when you need them. But let's go ahead and get on into our trainers. So we're currently playing 4 Battle VIP Pass, obviously just to try to get Pokemon out as quickly as possible. And we are also playing 4 Fog Crystals. The Fog Crystals are great for getting Pokemon out, but they're also great for getting energy out so that you can have an energy in hand to use Xatu's ability and start drawing more cards and accelerating that energy. We're also playing for Ultra Ball, again helping to get Pokemon out. Now, in order to use Iron Valiant EX's ability, we need to move around a lot. So we're playing a bunch of switching cards. Specifically, we're playing 4 switch cards, we're playing 3 switch, we're playing 2 escape rope. So that's a total of 9 switching cards. We're going to be switching in and out as much as Lost Box decks do. So there's actually even more switching going on with some of the other cards that I'll bring up in just a moment. We're playing 1 Super Rod, just so that we can get back energies and get back Pokemon that get knocked out. Additionally, we're going to play 3 tools. 2 of them are Future Booster Energy Capsule. And this tool, again, graphic on the screen, what it does is simply giving your future Pokemon 0 retreat cost, free retreat, and adding 20 damage to their attacks. So the free retreat is the biggest thing because that, you know, gives us more switching options, more ways to switch in and out. But the 20 damage is nice too. Then we have 1 copy of Forest Sealstone. This can only be attached to Medicham, but it can be very important to get it out at the right time. And to help with getting both of those tools out, we are playing 3 copies of Town Store. Again, we want to be able to retreat in and out, so the Town Store can be really important for that. Now let's look over our supporter lineup. Playing 4 copies of Professor's Research, just so we can, you know, draw through the deck quickly to get all the pieces to accelerate the energy and just kind of turbo through the deck, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to turbo through, get it so we can attack with Medicham, then get it so we can do Iron Valiant plays over and over. Playing 3 copies of Iono for similar reasoning. A little bit disruption into decks that actually give us some problems, but you know, it's more about the early game draw than anything. 2 copies of Boss's Orders so that we can spread the damage the way we want, but also target the exact Pokemon that we want to with Iron Valiant, because we've only talked about Iron Valiant's ability so far, but the attack does a flat 200 damage. The drawback being that you can't attack with that Iron Valiant the next turn. That class pretty much just goes away since you're retreating almost every time and doing all this switching. But so Boss can help you actually get to knockout numbers against the right Pokemon. And again, the Future Booster Energy Capsule will also help you by adding 20 damage, so that's, you know, 1 snipe that you didn't have to use. Rounding it out, we've got Energy. So we're playing 1 Rapid Strike Energy, and a fair portion of the time, Forest Sealstone will get that Rapid Strike Energy to allow that turn 1 Medicham Yoga Loop. We're playing 2 Jet Energies, again, just more ways to get Iron Valiant into the active to use his ability. And then we are playing 9 copies of basic Psychic Energy to power up Iron Valiant, power up, you know, sometimes Medicham, and to activate and use the Xatu draw engine. So this is the basic list. I didn't create it, I found it on the internet. I think this might have been a Japanese list, but I have some potential changes. So Clara is a great supporter for getting back a Pokemon that was knocked out, or a Xatu line, and also getting back energies to immediately accelerate with Xatu. I've seen lists that took out an Ultra Ball for Clara. Iron Jugulis is a very fitting Pokemon to throw in. He's a future Pokemon, so you can attach the Future Booster Capsule to him, and that will lead to upping his damage toward the active by 20 and also giving him free retreat. Iron Jugulis's attack, the main one that we would care about, is his Homing Headbutt, which does 50 damage to 3 different Pokemon from your opponent that have damage on them already. Obviously that can pair well with Iron Valiant's ability. You can set up numbers and potentially take 3 prizes with Iron Jugulis against 370 HP Pokemon. Even if Manaphy is in play, you could pull off a triple snipe Medicham attack, Yoga Loop, and then triple snipe Iron Valiant ability, finally attacking with Iron Jugulis to do a 4 prize set of 2 turns against like a Lost Box deck, for instance. I haven't yet included it, but Techno Radar could be a great option for searching out your future Pokemon. Since we only have 4 to 5 future Pokemon here, and that's only less than half of our total Pokemon count, I haven't swapped to include this yet. But basically, it's a battle VIP pass that you can use at any point if you are willing to target future Pokemon and you're fine with discarding a card. That's a pretty powerful effect. It could get you Iron Valiants in the mid-game if you are slower to set up. So if that becomes a problem that I notice as I test this deck further, that might be a change that I make, is to either swap in some Techno Radars for Battle VIP passes, or swap something else out in order to include a copy or 2 of Techno Radar. And then finally, Lost Vacuum is a strong potential inclusion to help with discarding tools that boost HP. So against Miraidon, you may want to be discarding their Charms of Courage so that they don't have that extra 50 HP on top of their base of 220. Against Roaring Moon EX, with the 60 HP bonus from the Ancient Energy Capsule. It can be very, very good to use that Lost Vacuum. There are times that can instantly turn a damaged Roaring Moon into a target for a Yoga Loop attack, or just make it that much easier to knock out a fresh one with Iron Valiant. That is basically the list with the 4 key potential cards down here. Obviously, this is brand new, something that hasn't been fully tested, so I'm going to keep testing, keep doing matches, and make determinations as to how this list updates. And I will actually, in the future, update the list in the comments down below in the description. I'll make updates to keep it up to what my final list for this archetype ends up being. And in the meantime, you can see the full list in text format in the description as well. With that, this has been Jeffrey JGB146 Blake. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.